Hello, everyone. Here we are. There's always a little bit of a delay. It's okay. Hi, guys. Our show, we got 2 viewers. It's amazing. How you guys doing? Wow. It's been a week already. What a busy week. How about you guys? I've been really busy, but doing good stuff. And I told some of you about what was going on with little Phoenix, my daughter, you know, in school and so forth. Oh, boy, this is all messed up. Hang on. I got a cable that was bothering me. Of course, it doesn't bother me until I go online. So how you guys doing? Nice to have you with us, Henry. Hello. Nice to see you. All right. Yeah, our widgets are working. Yeah, we're good to go. All right. And Henry's got a day off today. Fantastic. I readjusted the audio threshold. I know it got a little bit of noise in here. It's hot. It's dreadfully hot. I've got the air conditioning on here. Now, I know it's a little fuzzy around my head. I still don't have the, excuse me. Hi, Jaspy. How are you? On the 70s. Oh, on the 70 inch. Okay, good. Oh, my goodness. Well, I'll tell you what. I have a way to make it look 10 times better on the 70 inch. Ready? There you go. That makes it look better. It's already better on the 70 inch. But I know I have a little bit of tearing and so forth on the top, you know. But anyway. Well, my goodness, if you're going to use the 70 inch, then what I need to do is, I need to have an absolutely stunning background. Let's see. See if I can do this one. Hang on. Does this one work? Hang on. What happens if I do this one? What happens if I do this background? First of all, it freezes like crazy. That's not a computer processing, you know, issue. I got tons of RAM. I've got big processors going on. Yeah, just a little thing on the earth. It's just a little, here, let me do this. This will make it even better. Do this. Yeah. It's just a little, you know, loop. Something that I found that I like. Now, I will tell you what I like the best. I like these Taiwan beauty shots that I have. Like this. And yes, interesting, huh? And I like to put the Taiwan Live transparent image over the top of that like that. And then we can put the camera back in. And yeah, it just looks funny with the mic cut off, you know, here in a second, but yeah. So there you go. Anyway, so we use this for a while. Yeah, sorry about my rosy cheeks. It has to do with the chroma key and, you know, the amount of color saturation that I need and all this stuff. So anyway. So thanks everyone for joining, and just for those of you who don't know the story, let me tell it really quick, because I did tell it in the late night line group. Excuse me. I need a sponsor for this. My kid Phoenix, my daughter, she's 5.5, and she's never been afraid of the dark because, you know, we don't teach her to be afraid of the dark. We don't talk about monsters and tell her ghost stories or anything like that. And we don't do anything superstitious or occult, or none of that. She's never been exposed to it. And all of a sudden, she's been acting really weird, afraid of the dark. And, you know, like, for example, she wouldn't walk 3 meters from the living room to the kitchen because the kitchen was dark, even though the living room and the dining room, you know, were lit and the light is filling the kitchen. She wanted me to hold her hand to walk her to the kitchen so she could put a bowl in the sink. Anyway, so I talked to her and Mommy talked to her, and, you know, sometimes she talks to me and confides to me in English, and sometimes she confides to Mommy in Chinese. Doesn't really matter. But she confided to Mommy, and Mommy told me that her teacher has been threatening the class with ghosts. A similar thing happened the previous year with the previous teacher, and my wife had to write a note. The teacher was threatening the children with police, like, if you don't, hey Bernardo, how you doing? If you don't go to sleep, if you don't take your nap, the police are going to come get you. And we explained to the teacher that we teach our child to respect the police officers, not to be afraid of them. And if anything's wrong, I want my child to go to a police officer and tell the police officer that, he or she, that, I'm lost and I need your help. We don't want them to be used as a threat. And so they're not. Now they're using ghosts. The little kids take a nap in the afternoon. They have their recess and they have their lunchtime. Then they lay down on their little cots and they have a rest. And sometimes they don't. They're little kids. Sometimes they're how it is. They're talking and they're goofing around. They're playing and stuff, and they don't want to go to sleep right away. But the teacher said, if you don't go to sleep and pull the blanket up, the ghost is going to snatch you. And I'm really mad. I'm really mad about that. I'm so mad that I'm glad it was nighttime when I heard about it, because if it was daytime, I would have drove over there to the school and I would have given them a piece of my mind. Now, anyway, I'm working with my wife, and there is a line group for the students' parents, and I'm going to talk to the students' parents and see what they think before we, go off half-cocked. You know what I mean? I don't want to go off half-cocked on this thing. So anyway, so I'm just dealing with that. And here we have another background image, so forth. And I really like this. I like the background image a lot. Now, I know that I have to work on the chroma key. I know that, my hair is flickering and stuff. And if I put my hand up, you can see probably, there you go. I don't have a huge studio yet. In the future, yep, we're going to. But anyway, so here's what we got going tonight. I want to talk about anything that you guys want to talk about. And it's always a pleasure to have you with us. And I know 3 of our viewers have checked in. If you haven't checked in, please let us know where you're viewing from, especially if this is the first time that you've that you've viewed us. Now, what I want to do is I want to show you some information here. We have a website, taiwanlive.tv, and if you want to send a postcard, some have sent postcards to us. You want to go, excuse me, I'm burping here, it's live TV. You want to go to taiwanlive.tv. You can go to the late night show, that's late night/show, and you can scroll down and you can find some, a link to postcards, mailing labels for postcards, what I'm trying to say. And you can send us a postcard, and when I'm doing a remote broadcast at Winwin's place, then we can definitely show that postcard on the air. And the other thing you can do is you can send us an email to latenight@taiwanlive.tv. Now, Henry just posted a message, and while I was doing the little break there, I didn't have the chat box burning to the stream, but it now does have, chat replay. And Henry says they have lots of superstition. Yep, it faded out in the modern age. Old Norse folklore had lots of monsters and evil spirits. Yeah, I've read about that. But I'm glad what you said about it faded out in the modern age. Not here. And anybody who knows anything about any of the Chinese language societies around the world, they are full of superstition. I mean, it's normal for people every day here to do things or not do things according to a belief in ghosts in the house. It's amazing. Lighting firecrackers. I don't know if you guys have ever known that or realized that. But, when you see these periscopers around the world and they're showing celebrations often at the temple, and there's tons of firecrackers. They're not just saying, oh, we're happy. They're scaring away ghosts. They're scaring away evil spirits. And so my goal is to have the teacher undo that. See, my kid, we teach her to respect the, the teachers and what the teachers say. And we've told her there's no such thing as ghosts, and ghosts can't hurt you. We haven't lied to her about it. And then on the other hand, the teacher's telling her this, and it's conflicting, and she is conflicted about it, and it's very difficult. So, anyway. Oh, really? Okay, yeah. Yeah, you're talking about 4? Yeah, in Chinese, which I don't think it sounds like it, but in Chinese, people say that the number 4 sounds like the word for death. Well, not to my ear. Not to my ear, it doesn't. But to somebody else's ear, it might. So anyway, you know how to get in contact with us on the web and email. And this is how you contact us using Line, the telecommunications app. So you can freeze this and just scan it with your Line app. And I'm happy to say that several people have done that recently and have been able to join us in the late night group, which we really appreciate. That's nice. So Gaspy says it has the same sound as dead, but it doesn't bother me. My ear doesn't sound the same, but it's just me. All right, anyway, I want to talk about the Spider-Man of France. Now, there was a guy, an older guy, 50-year-old guy now, that they used to call the Spider-Man from France because he would go to some country and illegally scale some building, using suction cups and stuff, but not that guy, another guy. But before we do that, what I want to do is I want to play a bumper for my good friend Rob. And we'll be right back.
Hi, hello. This is Rob Ebner.
My name is
You're
Ken.
Watching Late Night.
And you're watching
Klein.
Late Night.
Now, it's appropriate that I play the bumper from Rob. And I'll tell you why. Now, people sometimes disappear, from the social media groups for a little while, and you don't know what's going on. And fortunately for me, a lot of my followers keep in contact with me behind the scenes. They call me on the telephone. They write me emails. We use Line. So it's nice. And I appreciate that. And I want you guys to know that I'm always available because I like to help, especially if there's something, a problem that I can help with, I'd love to. But sometimes people will just let me know what's going on outside of the group. And I appreciate that. So I have permission to talk about this from Rob and his wife. Rob has been somewhat absent in the late night group. The last couple of days he's been around, but if you remember, there was a time period for a couple of weeks where we didn't hear from him at all. And Rob has been one of my biggest supporters from way back when I first started streaming on Periscope. And I consider him to be a personal friend. We talk on the telephone, and it's we haven't met. That's just a formality. There's two things going on. Rob and his wife Beck have both had some medical problems. And let's face it, we're baby boomers, and that's what we're in for. Without going into specific details, I will tell you that Rob has had some prostate cancer treatment, and it's looking good. He's got a good prognosis. It's really good. What happened with his wife, Beck, however, is more immediately serious. Of course, cancer is serious, but more of an immediate threat. And fortunately, thank God they detected it, but Rob's wife had an aneurysm. And fortunately, they detected it, and they performed an operation. And I have permission to show you this. She actually, this is the incision that's stapled together And it's oh man, 33 staples. And they said that the operation went very, very well. And she's recovered extremely well. The staples are out now. Of course, there was a little bit, of bleeding associated with it, but and being a lady, of course, it ruined her hairline in that area, and I can certainly understand that. But the main thing is that the aneurysm has been repaired, and she is just fine. And we're so grateful for that. And Rob has been in our thoughts and our prayers, and I just want to let you guys know that. And I appreciate Rob confiding in me and telling me that. And I did ask permission to show the picture and tell you guys the story, and they said it was okay. All right. Now, hopefully, later on in the week, we'll be here at Win-Win's. Probably early next week. The funny thing is, yes. Oh, thanks, Betty. Hey, nice to see you. Always a pleasure to see you, Betty. Thanks for joining. Yes. Good health is their future. Yes. Aneurysm is serious. Henry knows. Henry is a nurse. Henry is a healthcare professional in Sweden. Aneurysms are serious. And Henry, the fact that they found it and it was operable and they did the operation. I mean, that's just like, that's knocking it out of the park. That's just fantastic. All right. Now, probably early next week, I really want to get back out in the field. I want to go back down to Win-Win's. But, I was at Win-Win's the other day. See, I do still go to Win-Win's in the neighborhood, but mostly because I go to the Thai restaurant next door. And Win-Win told me that anytime that I need ice, for my drink, I can just, day or night, whatever, I could just go to her place and get ice. So I'll go to the Thai restaurant next door, get a bunch of, soda water and some booze, and I'll go to Win-Win's to get ice. And every time I go in there, there's like 50 new Vietnam karaoke girls that I've never met before. And they're always like, who's this guy? And they want to talk to me, and I just don't want anything to do with them. And it's a pain in the neck. And of course, I walk in and it's clear that I know Win-Win and her daughter and a couple of the regulars, like the chef and the people that work there, But it's just been kind of weird, and I just haven't been spending much time there. But anyway, and T, my friend T, you guys know T, that ran the restaurant across the street. He got married. He completely closed the restaurant, and he's taking it easy. So I've got no place for to do streaming from his place anymore. So, oh, Jasper's got to come back. Yeah, I'm sorry. Jasper's got to come back in a second. But anyway, this is Win-Win's place, with the Chinese writing on the back. And if you really want to know what it means, I'll tell you. And over here on the other side is the equivalent in Vietnamese. But let's talk about the Spider-Man. Now, this week in France, there was an amazing thing that happened. A man who was an immigrant to France from the country of Mali, which is a landlocked West African nation where approximately half of the population lives below the UN International Standard of Poverty. He was on his way to a soccer game, we call soccer in American English, but in a football game. And he was walking down the street and heard people yelling, and he looked to see what was going on. They were looking up and they were pointing, and there was a child dangling from the railing of a balcony up 5 stories. And so he immediately went into action. He went through a door and was able to reach the bottom The old that's funny. While I'm doing this segment, I do not have the chat box enabled, so I'm just, I'm going to rely on the chat playback. This is an interesting sort of a composite. People these days, I don't know why, they always shoot video and stuff, their mobile phone pointed straight up and down, just like they would use it to talk, and that's why there's stuff on either side. I'll comment on the stuff on the right hand side of the screen where it shows the man holding the kid. I'll comment on that in a second. But the main thing is we see a man with a white shirt and dark pants. He's climbing up the railing of a balcony, and he went through a doorway and was able to reach the bottom level and grab it, pull himself up, and jump up. And then what he did was he stood on the next level of the railing and eventually pulled himself up to where he got up to where the kid was. Now, on the right-hand side, you can see there's a man holding the kid by the arm. Now, what happened was that, during this news story, development of the news story, a lot of people said, well, why didn't the neighbor just grab him? Well, there's a partition, because we live in a world where there are thieves. The apartments have partitions on the balcony, so, thieves can't just go out one door and, walk over to yours and go in that way. So there's a partition. You can see it looks like a pole up against the guy's neck. But he's doing everything he can do. He called to the child. The child kind of shimmied over a little bit. And that gentleman that you see on the far right, that's a street light, by the way, in the foreground. He's holding the child's arm. And what he was able to do was to prevent the child from falling as quickly as he otherwise might, which gave the other gentleman, the Spider-Man, time to rescue him. Now, there's one other thing that a lot of people don't know about this story. There's a little behind-the-scenes story. The child is actually from the apartment of the level above. He had already fallen down one balcony and somehow managed to grab the rail. I can't imagine that. I don't think I could do that. If I fell off a balcony, I don't think I could grab the rail of the balcony below and stop myself from falling. I think my weight and the momentum would just rip the rail out of my hands. The child actually already fell one story. When I read that, I just couldn't believe it. So here's what he did. He finally reaches the level where the child is, and the gentleman on the right has a hold of him, but he can't save him. See, the situation is critical. The gentleman on the right is doing the best that he can do. If the child lets go of the balcony, he'll swing down. He may not be able to hold on to him. It would be an absolute tragedy. I'm sure he would feel guilty, probably himself, if he dropped him. There's no real way that he can rescue him because of the partition. So what did the French Spider-Man do? He didn't even make sure that his own 2 feet were on the floor of the balcony. While he's still straddling the rail, he grabs a child and immediately takes him over the rail and saved him. So this is his name. Now, I don't speak French, but it looks like Mamadou Gassama. Anyway, I'll call him Mr. Gassama. He's 22 years old, and he is a refugee from Mali. Now, the next day, maybe it is, the next day, he met with the president of France. And a couple of things happened. I'm really glad that they recognized what he did. You see what it says? Act of encouragement, or act of courage. People were asking him, weren't you scared? And he said he didn't have time to be afraid. He was thinking about the child, and he actually said, thank God I saved him. This is a young man that has some respect for life and just refused to let this happen. He just couldn't stand there and watch that happen. So the French government has offered him a fast track to citizenship, which I think is fantastic. The president said, well, we can't circumnavigate, procedure, but we can make you a legal resident, and we can expedite the process. And the cool thing is, too, this is pretty amazing. He was offered a position on the this is really funny. He was offered a position on the fire brigade, where the president evidently said to him, you can do this kind of stuff every day if you want to. So, and he's been offered a job, and he's accepted it, and he's starting to train now as a fireman while his citizenship paperwork is in process. Now, this is kind of a recap shot. That's the moment where he grabbed the child by one arm, which is okay. Isn't much else he could do. He grabbed the kid by one arm and pulled him up. And I just got to tell you, I think this is just one of the most fantastic stories that I've ever heard. This is fantastic. Now, you guys know me. And you know that I say stuff that needs to be said. And for those of you who have seen my shows over the year, you know that I'm dying to say something about this. You know what I'm dying to say. I'm glad this did not happen in the United States. And that's all I'm going to say. Except for he might have been shot. With everything that's been going on in the United States, I just can't, yeah. I think you're right. Yeah, I think I told you. I mean, it needed to be said. It needed to be said. It doesn't matter what you're doing. There's always somebody, that doesn't like it. And you can just be minding your own business, and what are you doing here? Yeah, there you go. Mind your own business mentality there. But you know what? I'm glad that the Spider-Man did not mind his own business. The thing that's frustrating for me is, I'm 62 years old, and I probably couldn't have done what he did. I might have, made it up the first floor, and maybe the second floor, and then never been able to do anything again after that. But there's no way that I would have been able to do, what he did. He's 22 years old, and that's the frustrating part. But how many other people would have just said, wow, and just, so Nah, I understand. How many other people, you know, I'm not keen on heights. I've been up, we don't, in the United States, we don't do towers and meters. I've been up 200 feet on a tower. Actually, I've been up 200 feet on a tower with no safety belt hanging off the side, just with my legs hooked in. I'm not big on heights, but if I concentrate, you know, on the work on what I'm doing, I'm okay. But, I mean, how many of us would have just stood down there and said, oh my goodness, there's nothing I can do, and just watched it happen? It just would have been, yeah, it would have been tragic. So I am really, really, really happy that this guy, this Spider-Man, Mr. Gassama, was able to rescue the kid. And also the gentleman next door too. The gentleman that called the child over and tried to prevent him from falling until the hero arrived. So, fantastic. Now, let me do this. I have an extended version of the Taiwan Live theme. I'm not going to play the whole thing, but you know, the Taiwan Live theme is an original piece of music, and some have wondered where it came from, and you know, if there's any other pieces based on it. But yeah, we'll take a break and we'll be back in a minute, and I'll play just an excerpt of the Taiwan Live theme, the extended version. Here you go.
aka Ken, and you're watching Late Night with MJ Klein.
Okay, we're back. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to put the extended version of the Taiwan Live TV theme on Taiwan Live TV for download. So, what do you think, guys? Let's invite Casper to come join us. Gaspar, how's it going? I'm not sure if he pronounces it like the English Casper or Caspar. I always call him Caspar, but I might be wrong. Yeah, and we can also have you know, our friend join us too. He could yeah. Maybe not. Maybe not. What do you think? There's two men in Taiwan. And they're not Taiwanese. And they're down at the Vietnam restaurant. And they're live streaming. Oh my goodness. Anyway. I know a lot of you would rather see Wen-Wen. And Wen-Wen is the boss lady. And she's been running this restaurant for, I guess, 5 years now. And she has a new restaurant, and the restaurant is a common one that we have in Taiwan called Bafang, and they do boiled dumplings and guotie, which in the United States, I think you guys call that pot stickers. And so she actually has 3 businesses now. She's got the coffee shop next door, and which would be on the other side of Casper, over there, and over there. You know, looking at the front of the restaurant, and then she's got the dumpling place, and this place here called Tian Xin in Chinese, which means basically new day. The grammar's backwards, but it means new day, and that's the name of that place. So, all right, thanks so much for joining, you guys. We had a great time tonight, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to prepare a yeah, she is quite the business lady. Yeah. Oh, and the other thing too is she doesn't have any partners. Doesn't have any partners. Betty, did you happen to see the karaoke stream that we did on Taiwan Live TV? Of course, there was one on Periscope. Actually, there were several on Periscope because JL, Casper, and Yuka, and gosh, I forget who else. Anyway, people were saying this stream is everywhere on Periscope, and it was. There's 4 or 5. But Betty, did you happen to see the that on? Okay, good. So you know it. You know, I got a bunch. I'm really mad. A bunch of copyright hits on that, and I wrote back to him and I said it's karaoke. And you know, I mean, I am a BMI affiliated songwriter, and you know, I had my own record company, and I've had songs on the national playlist, and nobody paid me for my vocal performances on those songs, you know. But yeah, good. I'm glad to hear it. Yeah, it was fun. And JL is really cool. You know, JL. Well, let me do this. I was gonna close the show. Well, thank you. I can't take credit for it. It's just DNA. My mom was a pro singer. And you know, I spent like so much time in the studio. I guess you could say I wasted time in the studio, but yeah, I spent over 20 years in the studio. I've done thousands of recording sessions, probably 50 albums worth of stuff. So it's not a big deal for me. But I don't know if I told you guys this. I think I might have. But, you know, JL came, and JL speaks, he says, either 8 or 9 languages. I guess he didn't bother to count. Makes me feel stupid. But I brought him to the Thai place, and I told the Thai lady in Chinese, I want to introduce you to my friend. And he came in and started speaking Thai, and she flipped out. And it turns out that JL has actually done a couple of albums as a singer in the Thai language years ago in the 80s. And he told her who he was, and she knows. She's an older lady like me. She knows his name. She knows who he is. She's like, wow. And so when she got done cooking, she came out of the kitchen with her husband, and they, you know, sat at our table, and it was really funny. But yeah, JL has a really nice voice, and he knows how to sing, and he's got, you know, the phrasing, the vibrato, the breath control. It was a super pleasure, you know, to have him with us that night when we did the karaoke. So it's just too bad about the stupid copyright hits. A couple of weeks ago, I did a stream, and I played my keyboard with some MIDI files just to see if I would get any copyright hits just from, you know, the background music. So, and we didn't. But that's okay. So anyway, this week, what I wanted to say before was, and I'll keep going as long as you guys want to keep going. This is all that I wanted to talk about tonight. The other thing too is, when people look at a playback and they see, you know, it's an hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours, 3 hours, they don't want to watch the playback. They, you know, if it's like 45 minutes, then they might want to look at it. So, yep, absolutely. Kaspar gets really into it, man. He's like, you know, seriously, great. It was a lot of fun. And the only bad thing was that I had copied the songs. I had done a scan, PDF scan of the songs from the book from T's place, because Win used to have the same English songs package that T did, and then she upgraded and the songs were all different. So that blew that, because I told everybody, oh, you can just download these files, and during the live stream you can ask us what song to play. You can say song, you know, sing song number blah 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 blah, you know, it's a 5-digit number. And then I got to Win's, you know, and we're just 10 minutes before we're going to go live, and I'm flipping through the book going, oh no, this is crazy, oh no, it's a different book, oh no. And I asked Win, and it's like, oh yeah, they're all different. Oh great. So there you go. So, but that's how things happen. Anyway, unrelated, I got very ill after they left. And the only one who got sick was, yeah, I know. Sorry. The only one who got sick was JL, and he got, what do you call it? Legionnaire's disease, you know, from the air conditioning. He was either in a hotel or something he was in. He got Legionnaire's disease, and it took a couple weeks for him to kick it. But I was sick with type B, I guess it is. Flu? Yeah, type B. It was bad. I was taking Tamiflu. I got to tell you, it knocked me out so bad. I was thinking for a while, am I going to get over this? But I did. You know, obviously. Now, what I wanted to talk about next time, and I was going to do it tonight, but I want to say something for next time. This week, a UFO report back from, I'm going to say 2015, I think it was declassified. And, you know, it's one thing when you see a UFO and you walk outside and you see it and you tell your friends and they think you're nuts. Yeah, it was a cloud. It was a weather balloon. It was the sun setting. You know, people have a billion things to tell you that what you think you saw isn't what you think you saw, even when you know it is. So that's one thing. So a lot of, you know, people, they're reluctant, you know, they don't want to say anything, you know, because of that. It's another thing altogether if you get a photograph, you know. Take care, Jaspy. Have a good evening. Thank you so much. And I'm glad you made it home safely. And we'll catch you next time you're in Taiwan. It's too bad we couldn't hook up this time, but we'll catch you next time, okay? Thank you very much, Jaspy. Have a good night. It's another thing altogether when you get a photograph. But as we know, I mean, here I am using, great, thank you. Here I am using green screen, you know, in front of a fake background. The point is that you really can't, I mean, having a photograph really doesn't make any difference. It can be manipulated, it can be faked, you know, there's, these days, I mean, you can't be sure that what you're seeing is true or real at all. Just like, you know, me putting the image of the lady on the phone in there, you know, between me and Kaspar, you know. The thing is still, you know, if you see something and you take a photograph of it, it doesn't mean anything. Most people would not accept that as absolute proof that you saw a UFO. And if you just search known fake UFO photos, just do a search of that, and you'll see that there are thousands of them. Actually, when I was a kid, I used to read books on UFOs, and one of the researchers took a hubcap from like 59 Chevy and threw it in the air and snapped the picture, and boy, it looked like a UFO. He just caught it perfectly. And many things that we accepted in the 60s and 70s as photographic evidence of UFOs, we now have debunked them using modern computer technology. We can detect strings that you couldn't see in the original photograph. Blah blah blah. Now, if the UFO is detected on radar, that, however, is a completely different matter. That means that there is something there that's reflecting radio waves. Because remember, radar is an acronym. It means radio detection and ranging. So radar can detect things by bouncing radio waves off it. And because the speed of the radio waves is known, the time it takes for it to go out and come back, then you can determine the distance based on the time delay. Anyway, the point being that the recent report that came out, they showed, actually what happened was a ship's radar system detected a UFO. It was a hard target. And they scrambled jets. And the jets went out to where the radar told them, that the ship's radar told them that the target would be. And they got a weapons lock on it. And so that's what I want to show you. I want to show you that next time. They got a weapons lock on the UFO. And that, my friends, is a completely different situation. When the radar tells you that there's something there, it's because there's something there. It's amazing. And so, yeah, that was declassified this week, and I read that with great interest because it's using the Raytheon FLIR system, and that's an infrared system. And in the video, anything that's white is hot, and anything that's cold, dark. And the object in question changes color, which means it's changing temperature thermally. Pretty amazing. So I look forward to showing that to you sometime next week. Now, what I really want to do is I really want to do a live stream from Win-Win's place, and maybe we'll have some drama. I don't know. We'll see what happens with some of the new, I don't know, karaoke girls that come down there. And I always shut them down. I tell them, I don't want to know you. I don't want to talk to you. I want nothing to do with you. I know the boss lady for 6 or 7 years. I know her kid. I don't know you, and go away. So we'll see what happens. It could be fun. You guys take care. I have not updated the show closing yet. I'm sorry. It still makes reference to Broadcast, which was the old live streaming platform that I used to use. And it does have an old copyright notice. Don't let that throw you. I still have to go back and update it. There's only so many hours in the week, and MJ's been really busy. Thanks so much for joining, you guys. Really appreciate it. You take care, and we will see you in a couple of days. The Boss Man shirt. Well, actually, let me do this. Hang on. I got to wait. Before we go, hold on. Let me do this. Hold on. I could do this. This is like the third time that I have started to end the show and haven't. Let me get rid of the transparent image here for a second. But we do have, probably gonna mess up my chroma key. We do have our Taiwan. We do have our Taiwan Live TV. Whoops, here. We do have our Taiwan Live T-shirt. There you go. That's gonna mess up our chroma key, but I don't care. So I can wear my Taiwan Live T-shirt. What do you think? Bernardo, take care. Thank you so much. And Betty, Henry, Jaspy's Lab, whoever else is with us, I thank you so much for joining us. And it's been a real pleasure and a privilege privileged to be with you, and I thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe to the channel. We've been very fortunate. We've had a number of new subscribers, and there you go. Oh, Coco. Oh, Coco. Ah, I wish you were here earlier. I'm so sorry. I always miss you, but it's always a pleasure to have you with us. Thank you so much. And yeah, we talked about the Spider-Man from France and how I'm really glad that that didn't happen in the United States. And then you'll have to watch the replay and find out why. Then you'll be going, yeah, that's right. So everybody who watches that replay is going to be going, you're going to be rolling their eyes going, yep, that's right. So take care, guys, and we'll see you next time. Thanks so much for joining Taiwan Live TV, and we'll see you hopefully. I really want to go down to Win-Wins on Monday and see what's going on, and we'll do a live stream using the Streamlabs mobile app. Take care now. Bye-bye.